Did anyone else think the description on this ring was stupid? Like, purely from the perspective of actually being able to use tangible information, this is just dumb.
He is clearly just looking for things to complain about. It's not like any of the Souls games ever showed any actual numbers or percentages in their item descriptions. You always had to experiment around to see if it is actually worth a ring slot. So the description tells you that it can deflect spells, which is on theme for Jorg, as the shield of his Drake Blood Knights can do the same. The ring does exactly what it promises.
I've played a lot of Dark Souls 1 and 3.
Like most of the things he complains about, the lack of clear ring descriptions was much more of a problem in DS1 again.
Wheeler, my dear sister.
In DS2 this ring is a lot clearer and does not make you believe that it is useless.
You've defeated my better half. This is my thanks. Take it.
And what percentage of players realize that they need to wear Artoria's ring in order to fight the Four Kings?
Titanite slabs are the very last required resource to push certain weapons to their final form in that tree, but the game provides them to you in droves. You can push as many weapons as you want to the final form. I pushed the one weapon I actually wanted to its last upgrade and I had 13 slabs left over. That's ridiculous.
Is he really complaining about access to upgrade material? Okay, so let us take a deep dive into upgrade materials in DS1. If you have the DLC, you get a guaranteed Titanite slab. There is another guaranteed one in the base game, but that one is easy to miss on a blind playthrough. You need to lie down for like 20 seconds before you get taken back to the Undead Asylum. Then you need to defeat one of the least interesting bosses, one you already fought once or twice already. So this one is easy to miss. This did not count as a hit. But this did. You can farm them in New Londo, but that is extremely frustrating as they have such a low drop rate. I couldn't even be bothered to get a recording. Both runbacks to this farming spot are also way too long as there is not a single bonfire in this whole area. Farming Titanite slabs in this area is really a chore, so it should come to no surprise that Mauler's video makes it seem as if it is a bad thing that DS2 massively improved this.
They drop Titanite slabs? This game.
You can get lucky and get one as a rare random drop from the crystal lizards in the Great Hollow. If you get really lucky, you might get a few here. But if not, you might just not get any. The next one can again be easily missed.
I am Siegmeyer of Katarina. Oh ho! I'll think of something. We can overcome this together.
The last slab can be obtained from this easily missable quest line. There are several steps where you could mess it up and then miss out on a highly valuable upgrade material.
Wait, you defeated those monsters? Well, fancy meeting you here.
You need to go back to previous areas several times in order to progress his quest line.
You brought moss, perchance? Friend, I have an idea. A good one, really. I will rush those dire fiends and you can slip away in the confusion. Now, I go. Don't be slow.
If you listen to his plan, you will mess up the quest line, as you can only progress if he does not take too much damage during this fight.
Well, you've saved me, once again.
Then you need to save his daughter on the other end of the world.
But I haven't found my father yet. Have you seen him? No. I'll just have to kill him again.
Then you need to open up 2 easily missable illusory walls.
You assist us quickly. I can hardly return the favor, but please accept this. It's of no use to me now.
Counterintuitively, it is easier to fully upgrade several special weapons as it is easier to farm Twinkling Titanite. You can also just buy them and easily fully upgrade arguably the strongest weapon in the game, which you can get pretty early as well, fully before you could fully upgrade a basic longsword. You also get relatively many Demon Titanite throughout the game, and they are easy to farm as well. So it is again easier to fully upgrade boss weapons than it is to fully upgrade basic weapons. But the easiest to farm are dragon scales. Did the third one just jump down? So the weapon progression in DS1 is clearly unbalanced, as it is easy to get and farm everything except for basic Titanite slabs. He also seems to ignore the fact that DS2 made upgrading weapons more streamlined by getting rid of the other Titanite types. He once again complained about something that is better implemented than it was in DS1. In DS2 the progression is also better, as you usually get a fully upgraded regular weapon at the end of the early game. You will typically get your first fully upgraded special weapon in Shrine of Mana. And then once you reach Dragon Area you will get your first fully upgraded boss soul weapon, so in DS2 upgrading weapons has a better progression, and it is also more fun as farming isn't as tedious anymore.
The way I would explain this one is that the hitbox is much too far forward than the model of the weapon, and enemies end up taking damage when they shouldn't be.
Pay attention to how close the hand of the Elan Knight gets to the great sword. And it's again something that can happen in every Souls game, as the weapon hitboxes in DS2 aren't any more inflated than in the other Souls games. The DS1 greatsword looks much smaller than in DS2, but the weapon hitbox is roughly the same size. In DS2 there is a larger hitbox around the hand as well. And it is roughly the same size as the hitbox in DS3. The point is that he makes it seem as if this is an issue that is unique to DS2, even though it works the same in all Souls games.
I've played a lot of Dark Souls 1 and 3.
You can skip the next minute, unless you want to see a comparison of the greatsword swing hitboxes.
But let's not forget Harvest Valley and its really cheap decision to have several holes to jump into to get some bonuses, and then having one that just kills you.
Geronimo?
You could have used the graphics to do something there, game, to give us a clue. Then again, maybe I missed something.
This is the deadly hole. If you can't see down a hole, it makes sense to just look down first or throw a prism stone. For the safe hole, we can see the floor. The deadly hole does look like it goes down forever. So yeah, he did miss two different ways.
Perhaps the most incompetent part of all of that is that there is a fragrant branch you can only get from completing the albeit small quests from the Scorpion Dude. But if you decide to kill him, as I did on my first playthrough and a friend did, then you can't get it.
Is that even true? Let me try if this is actually a missable quest. I highly doubt it, as NPCs will respawn as a gravestone.
I've been enslaved by madness.
He willingly aggroed an NPC and then blamed the game for his own bad choice. So now that he is dead, let me quickly take care of his better half. Quest successful, but can we get the reward? Let us check back on Tark in 2.5 hours.
defeated my better half. This is my thanks. Take it.
Yeah, despite him claiming otherwise, we can still get the reward.
Like, luckily, I'm not a new player. Like, I've played a lot of Dark Souls 1 and 3.
In every Souls game, it is a bad idea to fight NPCs. This will always cause their quest lines to end early and you will miss out on some items. There have always been quest lines that can be missed if you do not talk with them at the right moment or if you do not summon them for the correct boss. But in DS2 this is all much less of an issue, because as we saw it is possible to revive NPCs and oftentimes still get your reward and use them as merchants. So he is complaining about an issue that he willingly caused by deliberately aggroing an NPC, and which was a bigger issue in DS1. If you do not want to see me fight some beloved NPCs, please skip ahead to the next chapter.
Well, I'm certainly not backing down. By the honor of my knighthood.
One horror, have you? Then I shall put you to rest. Horace, join me. Forgive me, Horace.
Game would be far better off with literally no statues, but like the game as much as you want. But when I am discussing measurable functionality and the effectiveness of a project and its aspects, your feelings aren't relevant.
Is he now claiming that the statues are objectively bad? He really likes to present subjective opinions as facts,
while almost maniacally keeping the information on whether or not a statue would actually lead to these things from the player.
Sometimes you get access to new areas, other times you might just get an item, but that just improves the exploration and experimentation. Souls games are meant to be played multiple times. In your first playthrough you experiment around to see what's behind a specific statue, and in the next playthrough you get rewarded for remembering which ones you need to focus on. He presents the Petrified Statues as objectively bad, because he personally does not like being given a choice and having the possibility to make mistakes, but he forgot that his feelings aren't relevant.
Fragrant branches of yore were a mistake in Scholar. They literally locked off areas arbitrarily while also providing both useless items and imperative paths for the game.
He also seems to think that everyone uses the same build as he does. Just because something is useless to him doesn't mean that it is useless in general. He also ignores that statues do serve more purposes. The one in front of the ruined sentinels highlights the fact that this is an optional boss, which leads to less players getting stuck on them.
Hey, you don't think a real-life person was turned to stone, do you?
He also seems to ignore that the game tells you that the only important statue is important.
What you gonna do now? You stuck, buddy? You stuck? It has wings! Use it!
And once again he complains about something that's the same in every Souls game. Here we can also see the buggy loss of aggro he was complaining about, and the gargoyle just jumped down. Even if they do use their wings, they can't get to me. Another enemy with wings that jumps down and dies. This is again one of many complaints in his video where he portrays DS2 as more broken than the other games for having an issue that they all suffer from.
That's not a mechanic, that's more like visual.
Well, it's a performance thing.
I'm having a fucking foot race with this zombie.
He also seems to think that fun interactions with enemies are bad for some reason.
Why'd that back one get aggro, not the middle one? Where are you going? Where's he going? What the why did he just run to the tree? He's attacking the tree! What the There's another one! What the
Did he never realize that these trees are the fallen giants from where this area got its name from? They clearly aren't just randomly attacking some random tree. They think that they are still fighting giants. Literally just playing the game and paying more attention would have shown him that these soldiers fighting dead giants makes perfect sense, considering how brutal the war against the giants must have felt to them. Having these hollow soldiers focus on the giant trees instead of the player is visual storytelling. You are just a tiny human, but those giants, they are the real danger.
But this next one is much more jarring. I think it is absolutely okay to cut out your music in a boss fight when you win, but holy, try and fade it a little bit, because when you cut it so roughly, it sounds downright funny.
I just happened to test ducking below some attacks recently, so after watching a few of those attempts we can listen to the audio fade out again.